This was the city where ancient Egypt had died. It didn't seem a very auspicious place to start a quest. Unfortunately, I had no choice. I'd have to travel 200 miles through the desert to some isolated oasis and find one needle of a scroll in a haystack of mummies. I didn't see how we could accomplish this in the time that we had left. Worse, I hadn't yet told Carter my last bit of information about Zia's village. I could just keep my mouth shut. That would be the selfish thing. It might even be the right thing, as I needed his help, and I couldn't afford to have him distracted. But I couldn't keep it from him. I'd invaded his mind and learned his secret name. The least I could do was be honest with him. Carter, there's something else. Set wanted you to know. Zia's village is named Al-Hamar Makan. Carter's face turned a bit green again. You forgot to mention this? Remember, Set is a liar, I said. He wasn't being helpful. He volunteered this information because he wanted to cause chaos between us. I could already tell I was losing him. His mind was caught in a strong current that had been pulling him along since January. The idea that he could save Zia. Now that I'd been in his mind, I knew he wouldn't rest. He couldn't rest until he'd found her. It went far beyond liking the girl. He'd convinced himself she was part of his destiny. One of his darkest secrets? Deep down, Carter still resented our father for failing to save our mum, even though she had died for a noble cause, and even though it was her choice to sacrifice herself. Carter simply could not fail Zia in the same way, no matter what the stakes. He needed someone to believe in him, someone to save, and he was convinced Zia was that person. Sorry, a little sister just wouldn't do. And it hurt me, especially since I didn't agree with him. But I knew better than to argue. It would only push him farther away. Al-Hama Makan, he said. My Arabic isn't very good, but Makan is red. Yes, Bess agreed. Al-Hamra means the sands. Carter's eyes widened. The place of red sands? The voice at the Brooklyn Museum said Zia was asleep at the place of red sands. He looked at me pleadingly. Sadie, it's the ruins of her home village. That's where Iskandar hid her. We have to find her. Just like that, the fate of the world goes out the window. We have to find Zia. I could have pointed out several things. He was going on the word of an evil spirit that was probably speaking directly from Apophis. If Apophis knew where Zia was kept, why would he tell us except to delay and distract us? And if he wanted Zia dead, why hadn't he killed her already? Also, Set had given us the name Al-Hamam Makan. Set was never up to any good. He was clearly hoping to divide us. Finally, even if we had the name of the village, that didn't mean we could go find it. The place had been wiped out almost a decade ago. But looking at Carter, I realized there was no reasoning with him. This wasn't a reasonable choice. He saw a chance to save Zia, and he was going to take it. I simply said, It's a bad idea. And yes, it felt quite strange being forced to play the responsible sibling. Carter turned to Bess. Could you find this village? The dwarf god tugged at his Hawaiian shirt. Maybe, but it would take time. You've got a little more than 2 days left. The equinox starts the day after tomorrow at sunset. Getting to the oasis of Bahiara is a full day of travel. Finding this ruined village, easily another day. And if it's on the Nile, it's the opposite direction. Once you've got the Book of Ra, you'll need to allow another day, at least to figure out how to use it. I guarantee that awakening Ra will mean a trip to the Duat, where time is always unpredictable. You'll have to be back with Ra at the dawn on the equinox. We don't have enough time, I summed up. It's either the Book of Ra or Zia. Why did I press Carter when I knew what he was going to say? I can't leave her. He looked at the sun, now dipping towards the horizon. She's got a part to play, Sadie. I don't know what it is, but she's important. We can't lose her.